Hey guys, it's Quana, and been, it's been a while. It's been a year. I have not disappeared. I have not gotten the COVID, thank goodness. Um, but it has been a difficult year, and I have been keeping up with everybody on the booktubes, on the interbook webs, but it has been so hard for me. So first and foremost, thank you for coming back to my channel. It's so great to have you here. So, those of you who know me in real life know that this um, whole like trying to be a YouTuber thing and share my thoughts and opinions about books um, is challenging in real life because I have kids and I teach, hence the title of my channel, Reading with the Teacher. And I have since switched jobs. So shout out to all of my students who, I miss terribly at my old school, but we have moved and I've switched jobs and it's just been a thing. It's just been a thing. It's just been a journey. So welcome. I hope you guys are doing well. I decided to come here, and oh my gosh, I'm doing that thing where you explain why you've been gone, and it wasn't, like I said, a conscious decision to not make any videos. I just literally have not read anything other than the stuff that I have been reading to teach. And although that was like the point of the channel, was to share the things that I was reading both personally and for teaching purposes. Um, yeah, I, I, I don't know. I have no excuses. I have nothing, nothing. But what I do have is my October TBR and a commitment. Don't have to wait till New Year's for resolutions, people. So I have a commitment to read now that I have finally kind of gotten a grasp on my life. So I decided to share my October TBR with anyone who has been maybe a little intimidated by some of the very amazing and spectacular October readathons that are out there. But I did not want to do an October readathon because the last time I was going to attempt to do a readathon, um, hosted by the wonderful Jessie, um, it just didn't go well. My life doesn't add up. And although Jessie does not know me, I do not know Jessie. But they put on this wonderful readathon, and then I felt bad and guilty because I could not even commit, because I could not even get through. And I was literally like half of the books choosing books I had already read to give myself a cheat, and I still did not perform. So, suffice it to say, I decided not to start back with the readathon because that just wasn't going to go well. So, what I did do is, and this is not a sponsored, obviously, I've got like a handful of subscribers, unless you decide that you want to click on the button and join. I decided to peruse my local library's digital collection of ebooks. And as a teacher, we have access to um, Sora, which is like an app for students to use through Overdrive. And so you have Overdrive as a part of our library app. And I decided to peruse that and find free books that were available that I could download for free with a 21-day rental straight to my Kindle. And so that's what I did. And I picked three books for the month of October. And so I wanted to come here and share them with you guys in hopes that maybe someone would be interested enough to select one of these books and would be willing to join me at the end of the month for a book chat about them. So here we go, drum roll. All right, so the books that I am going to read for October. The first is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I want to say that this book came out in April, but I could be really wrong about that. And I, on my little sheet of paper here for my book titles, did not write dates or anything. I barely wrote down the title and the author's name. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle over here. It's a struggle. Welcome. If you have a struggle going on in your life, this is a safe struggle zone. Okay. um, but The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So the premise of the book is obviously a book club. Well, how they sold me. So they said it was Um, Still Magnolias, which I love, and add vampires. And I was like, oh, I'm here for that. So that's what we're gonna do. So it follows this main character who joins a book club. I think it's based in Charleston, which I actually went to for the first time last year, and I loved it. So I was like, oh, I kind of know some of the general locations that were mentioned, and I'm a South Carolinian, at least by birth. So I decided this would be a great book for me. So you've got Southern Belles and their moms, and that's so relatable to my life. And they're slaying vampires. So that's the first book on our list is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I am on the third chapter of the book right now, so I started last night. So my goal is by the end of the week. The second book on my TBR is Stranger Things Suspicious Minds by Gwenda Bond. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first official Stranger Things book, and so I was like, first of all, I was shocked just to even see it popped up. I had no idea that there were Stranger Things books. I consider myself a fan of the series, but apparently I'm not that great of a fan because I did not know that there were books. And this is considered the first official book in the series, and it's the prequel. So it's all about Eleven's mom. And so I love that idea because it plays in the universe, but it doesn't necessarily give us anything that we don't already have. But it probably will give me just enough to help kind of tide me over until the new season comes out. So I'm looking forward to that. And then my third option, well, so technically, I am reading 5 books in October. Okay, so I'm going to pause, put a pin in your mind hole, and I want you to remember that I said that I'm reading the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I'm reading Stranger Things: Suspicious Minds. You got that? You understand? You're with me? Okay. I'm a teacher, so I've got to say it more than one time. So, the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which I'm going to put here, and Stranger Things: Suspicious Minds, which I'm going to put here. Okay. So my students will be reading Macbeth, which I feel like fits in perfectly with October because it's got death. So Macbeth is technically going to be my third book. My fourth book, which my students will be reading after they watch Macbeth, will be Frankenstein. Okay, so that's my fourth. And here is I'm actually reading Frankenstein for the first time. I'm really nervous about it because I haven't already read it and I'm teaching it like in T minus like 2 weeks. So I've really got to get my life together and get on board with that. But it fits in and it's October. And so I'm just hoping that I get far enough ahead to where I can like lead the students to water. I'll be drinking alongside them. And my fifth book I stumbled upon again, my library's free ebook catalog happened to have this book, which was a complete coincidence that I stumbled upon it. And so I'm taking it to be fate that I found it. But it's Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Sadawi. I don't know if I'm saying that last name right, but Ahmed Sadawi. Okay, so the premise of this is so interesting. So I think it takes place during like the war, some one of the wars with the Middle East. I don't know if it's like Desert Storm or if it's in the like 2000s range, but I believe that there is uh, an American occupation of Baghdad. I think I think it's Americans, and we're there and we're fighting. And I should probably know this because I'm an army wife. But there's this man, and he's seen all of this war and dead bodies just laying out. And yes. And so he decides to take parts of the bodies that are left behind and stitch them together and create a body out of all of these parts. His reason, and this is just in the synopsis, I have not read a single lick of this, is to be able to like film it or take pictures of it and like get the American troops to give these people proper burials because their bodies are just kind of like left behind to decay. So to honor them and give them proper burials. But once he finishes putting the body together, it goes missing. And it's like very unclear to him whether someone has stolen the body or whether the body has somehow reanimated and he has created this monster. all he knows is the body has gone missing, but then suddenly there are all these reports of murders and killings and some strange individual that cannot be killed. And he thinks it is his reanimated corpse. And so I just love the premise. I love the idea of like using Frankenstein to, or this creation to teach empathy and respect for human life, because those things, to my knowledge, because I haven't read Frankenstein yet, don't tell my students, seem like they go hand in hand with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So I've actually got 5 books, which now that I say that out loud is probably way more ambitious than I thought, since I thought I was only going to be reading 3. So I've got to somehow balance that. So again, Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, Stranger Things, Suspicious Minds, Macbeth, Frankenstein, and Frankenstein in Baghdad. And those are the books that I'm reading for this month. Um, I would love to know down below in the comments if you are interested in going on a journey with me to any of these books, and I will come back at the end of the month with reviews. Um, Another book, oh gosh, I'm reading 6 books. um, so I've committed to my new students to start a book club. So we started a book club. We actually met, and we're going to be reading this book called The Last Witness by Claire McFall, about this girl who goes to a beach to be with a boy, and then everybody at the beach ends up like something bad happens and they all start to disappear and she's the only one left. Very much like I Know What You Did Last Summer type tease. And so it's a YA book and I'm reading that with the teenagers. So um yeah, I think that's 6. I'm good with English, not so good with math. So say a prayer for me. And if you are interested in any of these books, I will include links below to their Amazon pages so that you can read your own synopsis. And I will hopefully see you guys soon. Oh, come back soon. I promise within like a week, I'm going to have a review of Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff because I did finish reading that. So kudos to me. And I will see you guys next time. Toodles.